The city of Nuvira Prime was alive with sound, color, and motion. Towering buildings of smooth metal and glass reflected the bright sun, while the streets below buzzed with countless creatures moving in every direction. Merchants shouted, children laughed, and travelers from distant worlds hurried to find their way. Among the crowd, a young human named Jalen moved quietly, his eyes scanning the marketplace with curiosity. Jalen was not like the other humans who lived on Nuvira Prime. He was small in stature but sharp-minded, with hands skilled at building and fixing machines. He had a gift for seeing solutions where others saw only problems. Today, however, his attention was caught by something unusual. Near the edge of the busy street, a small Crisari child struggled to walk. The child's limbs were bent and every step seemed painful. The Crisari, a species taller and stronger than humans, usually moved with grace and power, but this little one limped awkwardly. The child's long, thin arms flailed, trying to find balance. People passed by, some staring, some ignoring, but none offered help. Jalen's heart tightened. He knew that the Crisari were proud of their strength, and weakness was often hidden. But this child clearly needed aid. Without thinking twice, he moved closer. "Hey," he said gently, "do you need help?" The child froze and looked at him with wide, wary eyes. Around them, a few Crisari adults watched but did not step forward. One whispered, "Humans," always interfering. Another shook its head. Jalen knelt to be closer to the child's level. "I can make something to help you walk," he said. "It might take a little time, but I think I can do it." The child hesitated, unsure whether to trust him. Jalen smiled, showing patience and kindness. Slowly, the child nodded. Jalen moved to a quiet corner of the marketplace. He gathered scraps of metal, bits of wood, and pieces of cloth from nearby stalls. He set up a small workbench and began examining the child's legs. He measured carefully, testing angles, thinking of how the crutch should support the child without causing pain. Other Crisari watched from a distance, whispering among themselves. Some shook their heads, saying humans had no right to interfere. Others, curious, leaned closer. Jalen ignored the murmurs. He focused on the problem, letting his mind race with ideas. By evening, the crutch was ready. It was simple, made from polished metal rods and soft padding, but it was strong and balanced. Jalen offered it to the child, showing how to place it under the arms and move step by step. At first, the child was unsure. The first attempts were wobbly, a small stumble, a frightened cry, but Jalen's calm voice guided every movement. "Take it slow. I'm right here." Gradually, the child's confidence grew, one step, then two. Soon the child was walking more steadily, even laughing at the joy of movement. For the first time, the marketplace was filled with genuine wonder. People stopped to watch, amazed at what the human had accomplished. Jalen beamed, proud not of the crutch itself, but of the child's courage. He knew that this small act of kindness could change a life, maybe even more. But he also noticed the subtle tension in the crowd. Some Crisari seemed uncomfortable, whispering in tones of warning. "Why would a human do this?" one elder murmured. "Does he not know our laws?" Jalen did not hear the questions. He only focused on the child, now moving with ease. The joy in the child's eyes made everything else fade. For a brief moment, human and Crisari connected, not as stranger and alien, but as beings sharing hope. As night fell, Jalen packed his tools and prepared to leave. He had no thought of reward, only satisfaction in helping another. But far above the city, in the Grand Palace, an unseen watcher observed. A royal messenger noted the human's actions, frowning deeply. Helping a Crisari child, the weak and supposedly unworthy, was considered bold, too bold. Jalen, unaware of the stir he had caused, walked home under the glowing twin moons of Nuvira Prime. The crutch rested nearby, a silent symbol of ingenuity, courage, and compassion. He could not know that tomorrow the Emperor himself would hear of his deed and demand his arrest. Tonight, however, all was calm. The Crisari child slept peacefully, dreaming of running without pain. And Jalen, quietly proud, thought only of the difference one small act could make. The next morning, Nuvira Prime awoke to whispers. By sunrise, the marketplace was buzzing, not with the usual trade, but with talk of the human who had dared to help a Crisari child walk. Merchants repeated the story in hushed voices, and travelers shared it as if it were a legend. "Did you see him?" one Crisari merchant asked. "A human? Building a device for a weakling? It is unheard of." Another shook his head, frowning. "The Emperor forbids interference. Only the royal healers may touch the weak. This human has broken our rules. Yet not all were disapproving. Many Crusari children giggled as they watched the once lame child move freely, hopping and spinning on the crutch. Parents frowned, worried about breaking tradition, but secretly some were amazed. The child's laughter filled the marketplace with hope. For a moment, fear and rule seemed smaller than joy. Jalen, meanwhile, was unaware of the storm he had caused. He returned to his small workshop near the city's edge. The child followed him, proud to show off newfound skill. "Look, I can run," the child exclaimed, racing short distances on the crutch. Jalen laughed, clapping his hands. "Slow down, you'll fall," he said. Though secretly he was proud of the child's courage. As the day passed, the whispers turned into concern at the highest levels of Crusari society. Word reached the royal palace faster than anyone could expect. The emperor, a tall and regal figure with an aura of strict authority, listened carefully as his advisors described the human's actions. Interfering with a Crusari child, the emperor asked, his voice deep and controlled. "And this human shows no fear of our laws?" "Yes, your majesty," replied one advisor, bowing low. "He built a device that allows the child to walk. Some see it as bold, others see it as disrespectful." The emperor's eyes narrowed. Weakness, he had always said, must be hidden and disciplined. A Crusari must be strong, not reliant on human inventions. Yet even he could not ignore the news entirely. The whispers spoke of innovation and courage, qualities humans possessed in abundance. Back in the marketplace, Jalen continued to improve the crutch. He experimented with softer padding, lighter materials, and small adjustments that made it easier for the child to move. The child, who once feared falling, now attempted small jumps and playful spins, laughing freely. Each success drew more onlookers. Some Crusari elders muttered warnings, but curiosity and wonder kept the crowd watching. "Why is he doing this?" one elder asked another. "A human should not teach Crusari how to walk. This is not natural." Yet the elders could not deny the evidence. The child moved with more confidence than ever before. Some younger Crusari began to approach Jalen, intrigued by his work. They watched closely, asking questions, learning quietly. The human, oblivious to the political tension above, treated them all with patience and kindness. By midday, a royal messenger arrived. His robes shimmered with golden threads, marking him as a representative of the emperor. He walked swiftly through the marketplace, ignoring curious onlookers. He approached Jalen's small workshop and bowed deeply. "You are Jalen, the human who built a device for the Crusari child?" the messenger asked, voice firm. Jalen nodded, wiping his hands on a cloth. "Yes, I wanted to help the child walk. Nothing more." The messenger's eyes narrowed. "The emperor has heard of your actions. He commands your presence at the palace immediately. Failure to obey may result in serious consequences." Jalen's stomach tightened. He had not considered that kindness could be seen as a crime. I was only trying to help," he said softly. The messenger's expression softened slightly, but his words remained clear. "Your intentions matter little to the law. Come with me." As Jalen prepared to follow, the Crusari child stepped forward. "Please," the child said, gripping the crutch tightly. "He helped me. He made me strong. You cannot take him away." The messenger's expression flickered. He knew the child's story would make the emperor pause, but his duty was clear. "We go now," he said gently but firmly. Before leaving, Jalen glanced at the bustling marketplace. Merchants, children, and even some skeptical Crusari watched in silence. Many of them now understood something they had never seen before. A human's courage could challenge even the strictest traditions, and a simple act of kindness could inspire change. As they walked toward the palace, Jalen felt a mixture of fear and determination. He had no idea what awaited him, but one thing was clear: helping the child was right. No matter the consequences, he would not regret it. Far above them, in the emperor's high tower, eyes watched carefully. The ruler of Nuvira Prime was preparing to decide the fate of a single human, whose compassion could shake the foundations of Crusari society. The question was no longer just about law. It was about courage, morality, and the power of one small act to challenge an entire. World and dawn arrived quietly over Nuvira Prime, but for Jalen, sleep had been impossible. The royal messenger's words echoed in his mind. "The emperor commands your arrest." He knew that obeying the law meant leaving the child behind, and he could not do that. The small Crusari child had trusted him, laughed with him, and taken their first steps toward freedom. Jalen would not abandon them now. He packed a few tools, the partially improved crutch, and a small bag of essentials. The child, now more confident, clutched the crutch with determination. "I'm ready," the child said softly, eyes bright. Together they slipped through the narrow alleys of the city. Jalen moved carefully, avoiding the main streets where guards would be stationed. He had learned the marketplace well during his days in New Vera Prime, and now every shadow, corner, and quiet passage became a tool for escape. Behind them, the city was waking. Merchants opened stalls, children ran to play, and travelers passed without noticing the fleeing pair. Yet danger lurked. The Emperor's guards, trained to spot humans and track them quickly, were already searching the area. A wrong step could mean capture. As they ran, the child stumbled slightly. Jalen caught them immediately. "Careful," he whispered, adjusting the crutch. "You're doing great, but we must move carefully." They turned down a hidden lane that few Crusari knew existed. It led to the old industrial sector, abandoned for decades but filled with narrow corridors and safe hiding places. Here the noise of the city faded, replaced by the quiet hum of distant machines. Jalen felt a small relief. For the moment, they were safe. While resting behind a stack of crates, they heard footsteps approaching. Jalen held his breath. A figure appeared, a Crusari but not a soldier. She was smaller, with robes that marked her as a scholar rather than a guard. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "You are Jalen," she said calmly. "The human who helped the child walk." Jalen nodded, cautious. "Yes, who are you?" "I am Serena," the Crusari said. "I know the laws say you should be arrested, but I also know that your actions are right. The child is safe, stronger than before. I want to help you." Jalen studied her carefully. She did not carry weapons, did not seem afraid, and yet her presence gave a sense of authority. "Help me, how?" he asked. "There is a hidden enclave outside the city," Serena explained. "We believe that strength is not only physical but also in courage in helping others. We can hide you and the child there until we find a way to speak to the Emperor." Jalen's heart lifted. For the first time since the summons arrived, hope appeared. "Lead the way," he said, and the child followed closely, gripping the crutch with confidence. The journey through the city was tense. Guards patrolled main streets, and the trio had to move silently through back alleys and under bridges. Serena guided them with knowledge only a local scholar could possess, pointing out hidden paths, safe rooftops, and even tunnels beneath the city. Along the way, Jalen began to learn about Crusari culture. Serena explained the rigid hierarchy, the pride in strength, and the unspoken fear many had of human creativity. "Humans are strange to us," she said. "They see solutions we ignore. Some fear them, some admire them, but almost all underestimate them." Jalen smiled slightly. "I guess I've proven that, haven't I?" Serena laughed softly, the sound light and reassuring. "Yes, you have proven more than you realize." Finally, after hours of careful travel, they reached the edge of the city. Beyond the walls, the land opened into forests and rocky hills. Here the enclave waited, a group of Crusari and humans who had long worked in secret, promoting fairness, innovation, and compassion. The enclave's leader, an older Crusari named Tharun, welcomed them warmly. "The child is safe," he said, "and you, human, have shown courage we have only spoken of in stories. We will help you find a way to present this truth to the Emperor." The child, now smiling brightly, ran small circles around Jalen, testing the crutch on uneven ground. Each step was a victory, a testament to human ingenuity and the courage to act when others feared consequences. Jalen felt a growing sense of purpose. He realized that this small act of kindness, building a simple crutch, had set in motion events that could change New Vera Prime forever. Humans and Crusari could work together, learn from each other, and even challenge old rules for the better. That night, under the stars, Jalen, the child, and Serena sat around a small fire. Plans were made, strategies discussed, and hope was renewed. The Emperor's reach was long, but courage and ingenuity often reached farther. For the first time, the child looked up at Jalen and said, "You are my hero." Jalen smiled, his chest warm with pride and determination. "No," he replied gently. "You are the hero. You took your first steps. I just helped you stand." As the firelight flickered and the night stretched on, the three knew that tomorrow would be dangerous. But tonight there was safety, friendship, and the promise that kindness could challenge even the strictest rules. The next morning, Jalen and Serena prepared to face the most important moment of their lives. They would meet the Emperor of the Crusari, the ruler whose word could decide the fate of everyone in the city. The child, now confident and strong on the crutch, stood beside Jalen. Every step the child took was a symbol of courage and human ingenuity. Serena guided them through hidden paths in the palace gardens. The guards were everywhere, but her knowledge of secret routes allowed them to move unnoticed. As they approached the grand hall, Jalen felt a mix of fear and determination. He had never met a ruler before, and he knew this encounter could decide whether his kindness would be punished or celebrated. Inside the hall, the emperor sat on a high throne, his presence commanding. He was taller than most Crusari, with eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Advisors and guards surrounded him, their expressions serious and wary. The human and the child were led forward. "You are the human who interfered with Crusari law," the emperor's voice echoed through the hall. It was calm but firm. "Yes, your majesty," Jalen replied, bowing slightly. "I only wish to help the child walk. Nothing more." The emperor studied him carefully. "Our law forbids interference with the weak. They are to be hidden, protected, and trained by royal healers only. You have ignored this law. Do you understand the gravity of your actions?" Jalen nodded. "I understand, your majesty, but I also believe that helping someone who is struggling is not wrong. I did not weaken your law or your people. I only gave the child a chance to walk." The child stepped forward, crutch in hand. "Your majesty," the child said clearly, "I could not walk before. Now I can run thanks to him. He did not take anything from me. He gave me strength." The court was silent. The Crusari had never seen such bravery in a human, and rarely had a child spoken so boldly to the emperor. Even the advisors looked surprised, their rigid faces softening slightly. Jalen stepped forward, holding the improved crutch. "Your majesty," he said, "this device is simple, but it shows that strength and kindness can exist together. I have also built other devices that could help many injured Crusari. We do not need to hide weakness. We can support it, improve it, and allow everyone to reach their potential." The emperor leaned back slightly, eyes narrowing. He studied the crutch, then the child, moving with confidence. A small smile appeared, almost hidden. This human, so small and so different, had done what royal healers could not, showed courage and inspired change. The room remained tense, but the child began to demonstrate more movements, hopping on the crutch, spinning carefully, and even balancing for a few moments. Gasps and whispers spread through the court. The human had indeed improved the child's mobility. Serena stepped forward. "Your Majesty," she said respectfully, "we have long feared that tradition alone may limit progress. But here, human innovation has helped a Crusari child rise beyond what was thought possible. Perhaps strength lies not only in our bodies but also in our minds and hearts." The emperor considered her words. He had always believed that weakness must be hidden, but now he saw a new perspective. The child was not diminished by help. The child was stronger because of it. After a long pause, the emperor spoke. "You, human, have challenged not only our law but our beliefs. Yet the results are undeniable. This child walks. This act, though bold, has not harmed my people. Perhaps it is time to reconsider what strength truly means." Jalen's chest tightened with relief. He had feared punishment, but now there was a chance for understanding, even respect. He bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I only wish to help." "I did not mean to challenge your laws," the emperor nodded. "Your courage has merit. I see that humans possess qualities we can learn from. You will not be punished. Instead, you will be allowed to continue your work under my supervision. Your knowledge can help Crusari thrive." A cheer rose quietly from the younger Crusari present in the hall. Some elders murmured, but even they could not deny the proof before them. The child, now standing confidently on the crutch, looked at Jalen with wide eyes, gratitude shining. Jalen smiled, feeling a warmth he had never experienced before. His small act of kindness had not only helped a single child, but had begun to change the way an entire society might see weakness, strength, and cooperation. The emperor spoke once more, this time more softly. "Let this be a lesson for all. Compassion is not weakness. Courage can come from unexpected places. Humans and Crusari can learn from each other. Let this day be remembered." Jalen, the child, and Serena left the hall with a sense of triumph, though quietly. knowing that the real work was only beginning. Innovation, trust, and understanding would still take effort. But today, kindness had won, and a new future had begun. The days after the audience with the Emperor were full of new challenges and opportunities. Jalen had been allowed to remain in Nuvira Prime, not as a prisoner but as an advisor and engineer. His simple act of kindness had begun a ripple that no one, not even the Emperor, had expected. The Crusari child, once timid and afraid of movement, now ran through the palace gardens with laughter echoing through the air. Each step was a victory, not just for the child but for the idea that weakness could be met with support, not shame. Jalen watched, his heart swelling with pride. The Emperor, though cautious by nature, began inviting Jalen to discussions about new inventions and improvements for the city. Guards and advisors looked on with respect. Some older Crusari whispered, still hesitant to accept a human's influence, but the younger generation watched with wonder, seeing the value in creativity and empathy. One morning, the Emperor called Jalen to a special audience. The throne room had been cleared, leaving only key advisors and a group of young Crusari children. "Human," the Emperor said, his voice echoing in the hall. "Your work has proven that courage and compassion are strengths. You have inspired hope not just in a child but in all of us. I appoint you as a protector and innovator for Crusari children who need guidance. Your methods are unusual, but the results are undeniable." Jalen bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will do my best to help all who need it." The child ran forward, placing the crutch carefully on the floor and showing the Emperor how well it worked. "See, I can run now. I can play now. He helped me," the child said proudly, eyes shining. The court watched, amazed, as the once lame child performed movements no one thought possible. In the days that followed, Jalen and Serena worked together to build more devices, helping other injured or struggling Crusari children. Some devices were simple, like crutches or supports. Others were more advanced, designed to help with balance or mobility. Each success spread quickly through the city. Parents brought children, teachers observed, and even some elders who had opposed him began to see the power of human innovation combined with care. The marketplace, once full of whispers about a daring human, became a place of hope and curiosity. Children and adults alike began to approach Jalen with questions, ideas, and new inventions of their own. They watched him work, eager to learn, and slowly a new culture of cooperation began to grow. The Crusari child became a symbol of this change. Posters and small statues were created not as decoration, but as reminders that courage, kindness, and ingenuity could alter even the strictest traditions. People whispered about how one small human had changed the city forever. Jalen never sought fame or recognition. His reward was seeing lives improved, children laughing and moving freely, and the trust he had earned from beings once wary of humans. Even the Emperor showed signs of admiration. He visited workshops, asking questions and watching the devices in use. One evening, as the sun set over Nuvira Prime, Jalen walked through the palace gardens. The child ran ahead, spinning on the crutch, laughing with freedom. Serena walked beside him, smiling quietly. "You have done more than I imagined," Serena said softly. "You did not just build a crutch. You built trust, courage, and hope." Jalen shook his head modestly. "I only helped the child stand. The child gave me the strength to do more. Without that trust, none of this would be possible." The Emperor, appearing unexpectedly, nodded toward Jalen. "Human, you have reminded us that strength is not only in our bodies or laws, but in our hearts. Today we are stronger because of you." Jalen felt a warmth he had never known. His small act of kindness, once so simple, had grown into something far greater, a bridge between humans and Crusari, between tradition and innovation, between fear and hope. By the time night fell, the city was quiet, but the changes were permanent. Children laughed, parents watched with pride, and humans and Crusari worked together to build a better future. Where once fear and rigid rules had ruled, cooperation, courage, and ingenuity now flourished. Jalen looked at the child, now sleeping peacefully under the stars. "You were brave," he whispered, "and you showed everyone that helping others is always the right choice." The stars above Nuvira Prime seemed to shine a little brighter that night, as if celebrating a world changed by one human, one act of kindness, and one child who could now walk, run freely. The future was open, full of hope and ready for all who dared to act with courage and compassion. And so, a simple crutch had done more than support a child's steps. It had carried the promise of change, a lesson in empathy, and a spark of humanity that would never be forgotten in the history of Nuvira Prime.